Are you guys doing something else tonight?
We like a circus. It's not planned, but I just seen it. The traveling circus. I just randomly seen it.
Because I was going to say there's also something in downtown called Festivus.
You're right.
It's a Christmas market, yes, but it's spelled like peanuts. So it's like PHO.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a Christmas market. It's I mean, really just for like, like a farmer's market, but it's all Christmassy. I think 4 to like probably 10.
Yeah, so my wife is coming down. We go to
A and C?
and stay.
Oh.
So it's like a workspace.
Okay.
So the mom and dad's work. And then there's a big ass like playground.
Kids. What was that with my It took me years to understand this. Yeah, in between preparing and third shape. Third shape and then one side of the area and on the south end, like stay at that whole area. It's like a Phoenix steeple, and then there's like this little netting. Like even if you're obviously first child, you may have kids to say that. They have to get you to say that. Skinny versus like this. Yeah. I think that's that black like glasses. So it's obviously very millennial, so they want to get kind of like my kids who are all like Gen Zers and those who are like it. Is it always night? Okay. I was on the Parks and Recreation for 8 years. At the whole rec center, I was the whole team that was on that. Yeah. And I remember being really on that communication. Yeah. Maybe that's like perspective of this city. There's like all this membership we can get that's rated for the city. So like I can become a member now, but I might get no, we are just the best rating than anyone else. Australia needs to be marching band, like marching like all the presidents and people all performing. I think in the women Kenny, the mayor at the time was like that. Yeah, even that voted like all American County. Oh my God. Yeah, and I just think Like there's never like almost all of us have like all the writers, you know, like me, I'm opposite to trying to get the girl. And I got all her Listen, you're gonna see this is the game changer. It's the game changer. You have to have a bigger vehicle, period. Unless you already have a big She's twice tried. She didn't actually audition. She was because they tell you you're on the right one. Because she's a big thing. And she was but I want her to like leave. Like go to LA, dance there for a while. You can come back when you want to settle.
You travel.
Yeah.
Being traveling can work for us.
Yeah, it's a good hub. I'm gonna go get it.
So I have this mic. It's the same thing. But you can bring it. It might be a lot more because it's out
Do two?
So what I'll do is, we're gonna need some. So we can have one that's on him.
Yes. And then
Just not the both that are like.
yes.
But yeah. So I'll do the one that's recorded, and you do the one that's live.
Okay.
So I'll give you the recording of it. Because I'll record this.
Oh man. That is messed up. Okay, we got a little small situation. So when I tested the live stream before, it recorded to the YouTube. And usually does. Yes, and it did. And then I had to restart my computer because the Wi-Fi was being choppy. And so now it's not going live to the YouTube again. Like it's playing, it just has, let me show you.
You can try going to a different browser, like not necessarily you just watching the stream.
Yeah, like.
Try it the other side.
Maybe I don't.
I don't think you can get rid of it actually.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Like it recorded
Just a 5-minute test.
yeah, and now
Try the other one. I don't think you
no, you don't think you
yeah, Gmail, that's fine. You're just testing if you can watch it.
right, but it's not going live.
Did you log into your stream?
Yeah.
And send like broadcasts, or whatever it is, start streaming?
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, you're right. There you go. Oh god, I'm so scared.
Let's do the microphone.
Okay. You hit record. Come on. Is it not? Hold on. 1 second. Restart.
Second, oh, I should say spotlights. 30-second spotlights, which is kind of the live classifieds. So whoever here has something to offer or is seeking from the community, have a moment to say it live. And then a little bit of previews, not too much this month, and then we'll take a group photo, probably sort of right here. Okay? Creative Mornings is a global network of 255 chapters around the world, in 70 countries. That's crazy. So, anyone here for the first time? Wow, that's a good number of you. Okay, so, well, again, we appreciate you coming to Phoenix, but wherever you are in the world, if you're there on a particular Friday, check out if there's a Creative Mornings happening. You might make some new friends in, Kathmandu, I don't know. They're like, seriously, some far-flung places, which is great. I would love to one day go to, I think it's Osaka, Japan. It's the most active chapter in Japan. Amazing. With a lot of videos online from past talks, from 15 years of sessions in some great cities around the world. And I think there's a lot of Spanish speaking as well. And so a lot of the English and Spanish also has transcripts. Okay, let's get moving here, more about the organization. Thank you to the global sponsors of Creative Mornings, Adobe, right? Who's heard of Adobe? Yeah, Adobe, I gotta give them a shout out. We always grumble about clipping paths in Illustrator, that type of thing. But if you know, you know. But Adobe has just signed up for another 12 months of global partnership with Creative Mornings, which we really appreciate. That helps headquarters keep a full-time staff and also to support the individual chapters with tools and resources. So we appreciate that. And specifically, I want to tell you about some Adobe-related things. Today, we're introducing our thinnest models ever. Oh, okay. Is this the room or for the online? Or both?
Both.
Okay, it's all good. Here we go.
To Adobe's credit, they are accommodating or sort of synchronizing the other AI tools that are being developed. So in addition to Adobe Firefly, which is largely about image generation, they have been bringing in Google Gemini, Nano Banana, the recent version from Gemini, and some of that is going into Photoshop, and it's like very particular use cases on color correction and on retouching, and it's actually very cool, I have to admit. I know there's a lot of AI, just garbage in marketing.
Hot Pockets is now powered by AI somehow. But, there's also a ChatGPT plugin. You can authorize ChatGPT to use Photoshop in the background, and you can upload an image and use a typewritten prompt on how you want your retouching or color correction or whatever it is. There's some cool stuff working, so investigate that, and we'll give you a link in the wrap-up email as well. And they have this creative apprenticeship program, and this is actually a chance to get placed full-time for a period of time at a global company. And so for young people, for someone transitioning from one field to another, full-time experience with a creative firm, Creative Mornings headquarters actually had an Adobe Creative Apprentice. So this is a cool program that they're continuing as well. So they can give us a link. If you're interested, or if you have students or children or someone like that entering the creative fields, it's a good way to get a leg up. If you can manage it, you can win. Yep. Okay, let's keep moving here. I want to thank our local sponsors. And this month it is our longtime sponsor, AIGA Arizona, as well as the branding Habitat. And I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. Does someone, aside from Cory, does someone from AIGA want to share what's happening with the chapter? Morgan, do you want to just come up here? And super quick, just 10 seconds. And then also Jen, do you want to come up and talk about the branding Habitat? Okay.
Hi, I'm Morgan, Vice President of AIGA Arizona. We are a group for designers and creatives. Everyone wants to and we have some upcoming events.
Yeah.
Okay, so next month we have the Artistry Fair with Ginger Hamilton. Should be a good time. And then if anyone wants to review their portfolio, we have the Phoenix Forward. Students, designers, professionals all coming in to check it out, give you some feedback, and collaborate.
Okay. Well, we and we appreciate AIGA's support of our chapter here. Nothing for Jim? We could read it in the newsletter. We did a shout out. Yeah. This week, specifically contributed for the gluten-free spread. So perhaps some Christmas cheer. The cookies were good at least. I haven't tried everything else. The cookies were good, period. I always do that. And thank you, of course, to our host venue, our returning sponsor and friend, Phoenix Photo Lab. And you want to talk about the facility here? Yeah, you always do the same thing. 20 seconds, just sort of what you're working on, what you're about.
Hey, welcome everyone. Good to see you around.
But just this is proximity, yeah.
All right, thank you for coming. I see a lot of new hands up there, so if you haven't been here, I'll give you a quick overview. The front is a photo lab, so it's very busy right now with gifts, but do metal prints, canvases, G-plays. The back here is a studio for events and photo shoots or any kind of creative. People come draw here, paint, other things, so you can rent it and use it for your own stuff. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And I do have 20% off coupons on the white table over here.
20% off
So you get still.
Yeah.
We appreciate the continuity over the years. We've been here, once a year for several years, so we appreciate that. Community contribution as well. Yeah, and then the last one, thank you to our volunteers. So I want to give a shout out to our organizing team. These are some of us. I think Muse is not here today. The rest of us are here. Amelia, we need a photo. Bagel girl. Eddie is relatively new transplants from Omaha. We traded him for a left-handed pitcher and a draft in the future. So we appreciate all the volunteers contributing, and I say this every time, I absolutely could not do this alone. The team is super helpful, and we make this happen. And Laura's here, our previous host, who was doing a lot of the donkey work for years. So, the hard work. So we appreciate it. If you'd like to volunteer with us and get involved in the chapter, you can use contributions, everything you can interact with it, right? From the video, photography, event setup, sponsorship, organizing venues, organizing speakers, and I highlighted the social newsletters. Those are two where we sort of one person deep. So if you're regularly, if you want to get some verbal practice on sort of speaking for an organization, come on over and help us out. Just grab one of us from those previous photos, or you can just reply. Yeah, you can reply to any of the emails that we sent you, which is only two a month, unless you are here. It's like a parking correction. But you can subscribe to any, or you can reply to any of those, and you'll get in touch with us. Okay. Thank you. So, we're moving into the programming. A few more things. Every month we do this tradition where we read the manifesto, and we like to have community participants read the manifesto. I think Shweta's going to come and read it this month. I'm going to bring it up on my phone here. The coffee is working. Okay, I have it here on the phone, and then you can thumb that, and then I will control the screen here. There you go. You got it.
Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery in action, honesty, and hard work. We are here to support you,
Go ahead.
celebrate with you, and encourage you to do the things you love. Believe in the power of community. We believe in giving it back. We believe in face-to-face connection. We learn from others, hugs and high fives. We bring people together who are driven. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
All right, thank you.
I've been to a bunch in India, in Bangalore, Mumbai, and I've been to one in Shanghai, but mostly Mumbai and then here now.
Wow.
Thank you.
Did anyone catch it like this with the clear? We're not that high tech just yet. Okay, now let's get into some theme stuff. Innovation. I always have to like take a deep breath when I say that because I used to work at ASU, who of course is #1 in putting the word innovation on there. That is the global theme this month. It was chosen by the Tehran chapter, I believe. Or no, it was the other one in Iran? Oh dear, there's another city in Iran who chose this theme. And the illustrator of this is Nazanin Imamieh. So everyone around the world is riffing on the theme innovation, which itself is kind of interesting. Let's see what comes out of it. Real quick, I gotta speak about innovation. So yeah, I worked at ASU, and the trick was, everybody talked about innovation, but no one really sat down to define it. And there was no codified definition of innovation. And I also did work previously with Sally Hogshead, and so has anyone written or read Sally Hogshead's books? She talks about the fascination and advantages, like these 7 pillars of fascination. And one of them is innovation. So it's how you communicate, how you see the world, etc. But in her view, innovation is the generation of ideas. And so it has to do with, #1, ideas that are novel, they're new. #2, they're useful. But #3 is that little spark of the unexpected, right? The twist that not everyone can see, right? So when you put things together, when you take things apart, when you reverse and riff, like that's sometimes where you find the innovations. And in some cases, it's not necessarily by adding, it was by taking away, or it's by returning to ancient wisdom. And so innovation can be unexpected, it's rebellion. That you take the accepted practice and you just say, do we have to do that, right? So that I think is where Cory's gonna come in and make a really great presentation today. So I want to introduce today's speaker, Cory Skaaren. He's a great designer, business owner, dog owner, and he's also a member of our community via his work as now the president of the AIGA Arizona chapter. So I want to welcome up Cory to speak on the topic of innovation. He'll take you through really multiple ideas and how he keeps reinventing himself. Thank you.
Turn it off. Turn yours off.
Just come over here. Yeah, we're good.
Is this one down here?
Yep, you're good.
I'm good. Hello. What do we want to talk about? Well, Prescott says true. I'm Cory. I own a small design studio here in town. I've been a graphic designer for 32 years, plus or minus. I own a notebook called Resketch, and I am the president of the Arizona chapter of AIGA. I've been bullied into making sure that this presentation is only 20 to 25 minutes long. So I had a very heartfelt, emotional, couple of slides here of where I'm from and how I got to where I am. We're going to skip all of that. I can only promise you we're going to laugh, and you were going to cry, and all that stuff, but maybe we'll touch on some of this as we get into the presentation. So, in my 32 years as a graphic designer, I have had the good fortune and absolute total luck to work on just a couple of projects that in hindsight saw as kind of, I hate to use the word innovation or innovative, but forward thinking and successful. So in putting this together, which I had way too much time to prepare for, this presentation has taken multiple forms. But I wanted to look at those projects that we worked on. One was one that I was hired to do, one I was hired on to continue, and the other one I purchased, rebranded, and relaunched. So there's 3 approaches to 3 projects that kind of worked out in our favor. And I wanted to kind of boil that down to what were the commonalities there that made them successful in hindsight, kind of here for this. So I kind of came up with four. Acceptance is great, curiosity, and courage. They don't look terribly exciting on the page here. Also wondering now that I'm looking at that, have any of these ever been top 10 CreativeMornings? Sounds like one of those topics there. So we jump right in. So we have a question at the end and talk about acceptance first. Start where you are. I think acceptance is completely and totally underrated in the process of patient. It is that this is when the working with what's actually in front of you instead of waiting for the perfect tools or ideal conditions. It's also kind of a litmus test of are you ready to start and are you committed to something. Every project that I've ever worked on, there's that time and place where it's like you either waited for better tools, better circumstances, more money, whatever, to get started. Those projects never seem to work out very successful. So acceptance makes you start with reality, not fantasy. It helps you and teaches you to treat limitations as normal, not as punishment. And it also forces you to look for potential in the ordinary things around you to move forward. And I think that's really important. The second thing is constraint. These are also things that are very hard to manufacture. You kind of have to just be ready for them as they hit you. But I think constraint is extremely important. Necessity creates everything. Let the limits shape the work. I don't think I've ever had a budget that is what I thought was enough. I've never thought that at the time, et cetera, et cetera. So those constraints are the reality that shape the problem. They will force you to focus on so solutions can emerge. Time, budget, tools matter even when they don't. One of the tricks I kind of put on myself now is that even if I do have enough time, even if I do have enough of a budget, even if I have the tools that I want, I try to limit those to force myself to think faster and quicker. I had a professor in college, an illustration professor, who would give us illustration projects when he would not traditional tools. So he would say like, you have to do a self-portrait, but you can't use any traditional drawing tools or traditional surfaces. So we had to like sharpen sticks and dip them in ink or burn the ends of them or whatever. But it forced us to think more creatively and push the boundaries. So let those constraints prioritize what truly matters, getting through the finish line. And obviously one of the things, and it used to be AIGA's mission statement back in the day, is add by subtracting. Curiosity. Learn to ask questions. This is my favorite part. I'm a talker. There's people in this room who know that. Steve Tansley is smiling back there. Ideas begin with questions. Questions force you to look under the surface and learn how to ask better questions, not just look for smarter answers. And I think that's important. A lot of people love smart answers, but sometimes smart answers cover up the questions you should actually be asking. Question everything literally. At Skaaren Design, we have systematized the question asking process. We have a lot of documents and we have a lot of things that we go through with clients to make sure we ask everything possible. And we keep asking questions until it gets uncomfortable, and then we ask a few more questions. And we use the answers we get from those questions to completely reframe the problem with the client or the project or whatever it is that we're working on. Courage. This is my favorite one. Don't follow the crowd. There was a saying, I think it's Lee Kalau, and he says, what everybody wants is what their neighbor has, and what their neighbor has is last year's model. It takes a bit of nerve, but you have to be okay with not chasing the same horizon everyone else. You have to trust that depth is more valuable than novelty. Ignore what everyone's sprinting towards. Pay attention to what already works. Notice what's been left behind, and be willing to not know where you're going, even if you think you know where you're going. The three projects that I'm thinking in my head, Resketch, Ready Made Magazine, and Kono, even though we had defined endpoints, we questioned it every step of the way, and those projects did change as they evolved, and they became better for it because we're not slaves to those smart answers that we had defined in the beginning. This is the last thing I'm going to say before we talk a little bit about Resketch and ask some questions, but this is important.
in the end, innovative work is slow, it's messy, it's quiet, and it's often a fight. These are all deeply human traits. It can't be measured in a spreadsheet or systematized, but it's infinitely more meaningful because of that. And in a lot of ways, modern society, as we kind of rush forward, break things, disrupt things, and I'm talking about AI and systems and Slack and all these things that we used to work together, we are removing humans from that system. And everything that I've kind of mentioned here, these 4 little talking points, they are human-centric. And as we remove humans from the system, we get less and less innovative. And in some weird way, we're kind of innovating ourselves to death. And that's what I think about innovation. Now, all of this kind of comes full circle life with a company called Resketch. Now, has anyone here heard of Resketch? Yeah, okay. That's good to hear. Resketch came into my life about 13 years ago, happenstancely with a partner of mine in Chicago. And he's an artist. His name is Sean Smith. He's the original founder of Resketch. And he accidentally, talk about acceptance, one day, anyone from Chicago in here? Anyone know the Waste Shed? No? Okay. There's a place in Chicago called the Waste Shed, and it's kind of like a hipster Goodwill. And it's a collecting depot for leftover art supplies and so on and so forth. And one day, my partner Sean, he walked into the Waste Shed and he saw literally a pyramid of unused reamed copy machine paper. And it was all the ugly colors that you just at like a Kinko's or a FedEx, like the salmon, the lemon, the blue, all that stuff. And it was literally like to the ceiling. And he knew the guy at the Waste Shed, and he's like, man, where did you get all this paper? And they said, oh, a copy machine place went out of business down the street and they abandoned all their paper. And he's like, we can't sell it. No one wants it. So my friend Sean was like, well, how much do you want for it? And he's like, just give me a couple $100 and you can have it. Now, Sean didn't know what Resketch was going to be at the time, but he just thought, I'll just never buy paper again. I'll just put this in my garage and I will put this stuff in he's an artist, so he used paper a lot. The paper sat in his garage. I'm sure the wife wasn't too happy about that. And one day he got a paper sample book in the mail from French Paper. And if you've ever seen a paper sample book, you'll know that it has all the samples of paper from that company in one little packet. And he said, oh my God, I got all that paper in my garage. It's all different colors. It's all weird stuff. I'm just going to make notebooks out of it and sell it to my friends to get rid of it. And that's how Resketch was born. Accepting what you have and just simply moving forward, probably out of an act of frustration, just get rid of it. So Resketch makes notebooks. What came of that is he started a Kickstarter. He raised the money for the production costs. I don't remember how many notebooks were originally made in that first run, but it was successful. It sold out and he got rid of the notebooks. The end result of that was people contacting him saying, please God, I have paper. Will you take it off my hands? And we learned that there was no secondary market for paper. If you're stuck with paper, it goes nowhere. So if a printer has extra paper after a run, or if a job gets canceled, or a copy machine place goes out of business, for some reason, people just don't want unwanted and unused paper. So people started sending Resketch paper from all over the country, and it became all kinds of usable, we have a rule, has to be unused and unwanted paper. So we started making notebooks out of what you see here today. Now, there's a tremendous amount of constraint involved in Resketch. We make literally the entire brand is made up of spare parts, meaning the only thing that we purchase is the black and brown covers, and because we letterpress them and we keep those consistent. Everything else you see is literally made for something that was either going to go in the trash or be recycled. So we had people who were willing to work with us. Binderies and collators don't really love to mess things up and take things out of order. So you can imagine, for example, when we moved to Phoenix, we went to all the binderies in town and they were like, why on earth would you do this? It's a lot of work. And we are paid to keep things in order, not randomize things, much less our equipment isn't really calibrated to take random stacks of random paper and collate it. So initially it was just, no, we're not willing to do this. It's too much work. We have to stop our whole production line just for this one little company. We're not going to do it. So we had to kind of put our thinking caps on and we had to work with them and learn how to use their equipment non-traditionally to create the notebooks that we have today. This is just some of the notebooks open, so you can kind of get a sense of what it is. Has anyone seen a Resketch notebook? Okay. For those of you who haven't, for whatever reason, when we tell people what we do, we make notebooks out of rescued and reclaimed paper, and what that means is that every page in the notebook is different. They say, yeah, I get it. You make notebooks out of recycled paper. We're like, no. People get the impression that we take all this, pulp it back down for some reason, and make new paper and then make the notebooks. Until they touch it and see and open every page and realize that literally every page in our notebooks are different. Could be a different kind of stock, texture paper, could be watercolor paper, construction paper. No matter how much we explain, it's not until someone sees it, touches, and opens it where they have that moment of like, oh, I get it. How do you do this? So it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of kind of moxie to find partners that are willing to work with us. Now, the end result is we've realized that we just make notebooks for creative people. And the unintended consequences of saving all this paper around the United States is we were not a part of it, but there has been studies about when the brain interacts with different surfaces and different colors page after page, it activates the brain and you become more creative and you think more freely. We have therapists who buy our notebooks in bulk for their patients to give them as journals. But all that was a side effect of the real accomplishment, which Sean really wanted to get accomplished, which was like all of this paper, unused paper going into recycling. And recycling is not the best thing for the environment. If we want to talk about innovation, you'd think recycling was an innovative step forward. But the truth is it's very chemically, very energy heavy, and very water heavy. And it's better than nothing, but it's not great. And the idea to us of unused paper recycled just to make more paper that's probably not going to get used and recycled to make more paper was madness. So that's where the original idea for Resketch kind of was born and kept going. And we now have like a supply chain across the United States where we rest So to end it all, sustainable creativity. A lot of waste in the creative space. I've been in publishing for 30 years. You can about imagine how much waste I put into the waste stream with God knows how many magazines that we printed, sold, end up in the trash. Like I said, 10 tons of paper a year, 13 years, 130 tons rescued. And that's it. So, what time? How much time is that? Am I short?
20 minutes.
Okay, I just had to get both mics. Do one more slide here. Okay, so we definitely have time to interrogate that. I love this for.
I don't know how many folks know, don't raise your hand. I grew up in the recycling industry. My grandfather was a pioneer in that field, and he started in glass and then moved to, or he started in metals, then moved to glass, and then eventually a little bit of plastics toward the end of his career. And type of thing, like people would go to him and say, broken glass is garbage. What do you want it for? He's like, no, this is material. We can recon and turn it into other glass. You know what I mean? And the tricky part is that, like, the toughest part of recycling is the people, because amid the pristine reams of unused green paper, there will be like, pizza grease paper plate. And you're like, buddy, that cannot be recycled, and it kind of ruins the batch. When we find a way to innovate around that, will definitely let us know. So I appreciate everything going on here. It definitely has that chocolate plus peanut butter of like material plus stretching your mind, unexpected twists, which is great for a notebook in general. And I think, wait, did you tell us about the raffle?
We do have a raffle. We have a couple of things. We have a box and a lot of our stuff, and then we have a smaller bag full of some of our stuff. So,
is that what the tickets are for?
Yes, that's what the tickets are for.
Okay, maybe we should do that right now in case anyone has to scoot. Heidi has the box. Corey, do you want to grab that?
Oh my
so
goodness.
We are giving away merchandise.
Merchandise.
How many?
Just 2. We'll do the smaller one first, and it is, I'm not wearing my right glasses, but it is 417.
That's me.
That's you. There you go. Use responsibly.
Okay, one more.
One more. 410. Kathy, you don't want it? She has my number. 419.
Anyone?
19.
No one?
419.
Okay.
Tansley?
All right.
All right.
Steve, you can come up and get the box here. So, all right, folks, while he's handing that out,
There you go.
questions about innovation strategy or about research specifically. Okay, I'll come around to you.
Oh my God.
Oh, Morgan was first. Is it both mics again?
Usually, now it's Morgan, so I don't know what the first question is going to be here, but usually the first question is, where do you get your paper?
Oh,
That's
not at all. It's not going to be that easy, Corey.
All right.
You early on in your presentation about the tools, the amount of tools, people, the process, and taking people out of the process,
Yeah.
trying to put AI to replace people. But I'm curious, why do you, like, with this process, do you could have worked, or did this have to be a people first, people only process, I guess? Like, in terms of innovation, could it have only been done with people, or do you think AI is going to come in and regulate this?
Are you talking about Resketch? Or
Yeah, the paper process, like this, you've been saying it's been a very complicated process, and it feels that way. And I can't imagine someone coming in with an AI chatbot doing the same thing you just did.
God, no, it's too much work. I mean, no computer would run an equation and be like, this is worth your time. I mean, honestly. It is extremely difficult to make notebooks like this at scale. And that is one thing that I want to make sure that we, there have been companies that have tried to compete with Resketch in terms of like, oh, we have some paper, we're going to make notebooks like this. There was a company in Ireland that made notebooks out of wallpaper. And every page in the notebook was, the print was the inside of the page. Every page was folded like this. So the back end of the wallpaper was the surface you write on. And they must have gotten a hold of a fair amount of wallpaper, and they did a run of notebooks, and then those notebooks went away because they didn't have a production line to get more wallpaper, right? So there's been one or two companies that have tried to do this, but it is extremely expensive to collect paper from around the United States. We have to store it, which companies do not have to do. They just buy notebook paper off the shelf. We have to manicure the paper. We have to have every single production partner along the food, like make papers quality and all this kind of stuff. And no computer would, I think, would come up with that answer. They would just say, just recycle it, which is what the world is doing. We have whenever we meet someone who has a large store of paper, or a company or a local government or a college or whatever that has large stores of paper, they are actually relieved, and they're like, oh my God, thank God, take this off our hands, because it was going to get burned or thrown away or recycled. So it's a human-centric thing, and only humans would go through the mess of doing it, I think.
Okay, we have another question up front here. Just the one.
Okay, yeah.
Joey.
I have a forward question. No, given the difficulty of assembling these Resketch books and all that, what was it that, like, what drove you to keep doing this? Like, even take it on and keep going?
Two things. One was guilt. There's been times in my life where we worked on very large magazines, and no matter how successful your magazine is, you always have to print more. And there were plenty of phone calls in my life where R.R. Donnelly would call me and they say, we have 30,000 magazines on the dock. What do you want to do with them? And the answer is burn them, throw them away. They're not going to keep them on the dock. We're not going to be able to sell them. Next month issue is coming out. That puts a lot of waste into the waste stream. And as a print designer my entire career, imagine the letterheads and the business cards and all the stuff that I put out into the world. So this is a little bit of literally reclaiming some of that. The second thing is Resketch is literally the first project in my life that is like extremely what I would call sticky. When people see it, they do love it. And that does keep us going, because there are some days, my wife is kind of part of this endeavor, and she's a little bit more open and honest about the frustrations of it than I am. It is hard work, but it is something that people truly love. And it is something that gets spread around very quickly. And we're just proud of that. We're proud of what we're doing. 130 tons of paper pulled out of the waste stream. That's a lot for a little company in Phoenix, So that's the answer.
Okay, I appreciate that. Sorry, I didn't cut you off. We have a question online here. I'll read it. When you spoke about innovation being slow and difficult, do you have any suggestions for how to help be an innovator in a larger organization? An innovation driver?
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. I probably skipped over some stuff in my presentation. Yeah, it's messy. The truth is you have to be the pain in the ass. And if you have the power to change it, be that person. And if you don't, just make little steps, I guess. Not every project has to be innovative. Not every project is going to change the world. Not every project is going to matter, even for that, So it's a hard question to answer. It depends on the kind of career you want. If you want to make, do you want to solve problems, or do you want to create them? To create problems, especially environmentally. So I took the career path very young that I wanted to create things, not facilitate things. So, that courage about standing out, I call it standing out in the rain. Believe me, I have lost plenty of clients because I wanted their project to be something bigger and better than what they wanted it to be, and it just didn't work out. I made those choices. I lived off ramen noodles until I got to a certain point where those things took off. I've just been a big believer that good clients lead to great clients and bad clients lead to worse clients, and just choose the other path. Yeah. But that's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah. And at work too, I'll just addendum. Sometimes innovation at work is to cut something out. Just find something silly and stop doing it. And you'd be amazed. Everyone thinks you're a genius. Be like, well, you just don't have to reply to emails. Like, it'll
add by subtracting. Yeah.
Okay, let's take one more question, and then we got to go to 30-second spotlights and stuff.
So for someone who works in a business that creates a lot of waste, when we moved to a new office space, I just went through and so much stuff.
Don't say paper. I know, I hear it all the time.
And so my question is, it's paper that's been printed on both sides and it seems unusable.
Seems.
Or to repurpose. But
Yeah.
do you have any ideas of how, rather than just telling everyone to throw it in the shredder bin because it has financial information that can't, whatever.
Oh.
So it has to go,
Yeah.
we have these shredder bins. So it feels like it's a good option, at least that I'm hoping that on the other end is something better is happening to it. But do you have any suggestions on how to better use paper that's already been used?
Well, it depends on how it's been used. If there's like legal information on there, obviously a company like us can't use that. We actually have contracts with all of our suppliers saying that they will not. If they do give us something that's sensitive, we're not responsible to concern. And when I say we manicure paper, that's one of the things we do when we manicure. We look for invoices with credit card information, or we get a lot of blueprints and things like that that we have to like go through manually and kind of edit out. But you'd be surprised what's usable paper. I mean, resketched just unwanted paper, so it was all clean sheets. But as we made books more and more, we realized that a map is useful to someone. They might draw on it with a thick marker, they might use it for collage, they might tape something on that page, or they might just leave it blank and use it as like a breath of fresh air in the notebook. So we do have a category of other paper, and some of those other pages are a little bit more dense and a little bit more weird, but that's the smallest percentage inside of our notebook, so they maintain usability. But we kind of let the user decide how they use those pages. So when we take paper, we just ask people not to overthink it, just give us the paper. And if we can find a use for it, we will. And if we can't, we'll do the unfortunate thing, which is recycle it. And we get a lot of weird stuff. I mean, I brought some stuff that like we haven't figured out a use for. Arizona Braille Library gives us all of their old, paper. And this poses a lot of problems. As you can see, it's a very spongy paper. There's obviously dots in there. We can't put this paper and integrate it into our notebooks because it's bindery, but we'll come up, right? Another project, these little scratch pads, this one's been banged up a little bit, but this is a full sheet from the Missouri Botanical Garden. It's a padded notebook. It's the herbarium sheets. So in all their shadow boxes at the Missouri Botanical Garden, this is the herb, this is the latitude and the longitude it grows in, all this kind of stuff. They're like, they have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. And they're like, they just give them to us, we flip them upside down and make them into notepads. So with this project only exists because we get this 4x4 square of paper by the metric ton from the Missouri Botanical Garden. So if we get something weird, we work really hard to just turn that into a product. It's a limited edition product, because once this sells out, or whenever the Missouri Botanical Garden stops giving us this paper, this product won't exist. Does that answer your question?
There is, it's not local, unfortunately, but there's a new firm out of Maine that is taking wood pulp from the timber industry and making building materials, insulation and other things. And that used to go largely to newsprint. But as there's fewer newspapers, that has to go somewhere. So they found a way to make building materials out of it. So that's the same premise, even though it doesn't get shipped to Cory. That's all good. Okay, I think we're gonna move on to the rest of the program. We only have a few minutes, but I think we can get through it. Did I skip 30 seconds? There we go, 30-second spotlight. So thank you, Cory, yeah. Thank you. Okay, we only have a week long. 30 seconds. If you have something to say to the group, if you have a request, it could be something for sale, a job vacancy, seeking, if you are trying to collaborate, if you're looking for a job, anything like that, you can speak it and online, and also folks online, if you have something to mention, you could type it in, and we'll do that for just a few minutes here to make sure that we cover that. And if anyone from the volunteers can take notes just on your phone or something, that's helpful too. John, did you have something? Yeah, come on up and speak it to the mic and introduce yourself as well. Anyone else can sort of queue up behind John here. Just introduce yourself and say what's up.
Everybody. I'm John Huber. A community event next week, the 19th. It's going to be a drink and draw. It's going to be at Rise Over Run up in the Sunny Slope area. Drink and draw is kind of self-explanatory. BYO drawing supplies, BYOB. We've had a couple hosted here, so thank you, Nick. And then Cory's actually hosted us before as well. So it's a free event. It gets hosted at photo studios, creative agencies, sometimes a restaurant or something like that, like a bar or whatever. We had our last one at Pemberton, but yeah, come by. It's also a gift exchange. So we get weird in October and December. So we have pumpkin carving, and then December we have the gift exchange. The other ones are all pretty much the same. So yeah, come on out.
Thanks.
December 19th.
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Yeah.
Rise Over Run. And then you can follow us on it's Drink and Drop PHX on Instagram for all the details.
Yeah. We sometimes feature your drink and draw, but I hadn't seen the promotions yet. Yeah, there you go. That's okay. Someone else, Chris? Lucas. Okay. Yeah, same thing. Introduce yourself and say what's up.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I work at the Phoenix Forge Makerspace downtown. We're a community creative space. We're part of Maricopa Community College, but we are open to the public. Normally, we do a lot of things hands-on. I know many of us are probably pixel pushers, myself included, but we are planning for 2026. We're looking for creative folks to join us in any way that they want. Really, I'm looking to promote and engage with the creative community throughout the Valley. So if you're looking for doing a guest workshop, talking, you want to host your own event at our space, we've got a big open creative space with streaming capabilities, all that thing. Or if you just want to come out and hang out with us and make something, talk to me. We also we're going to be doing probably an open shop night, which is just an open space to come play with some of our machines and tools on January 3rd Friday. I think it's the 16th. But so come check us out or talk to me afterwards if you are wanting a space or wanting a opportunity to team anything creative. Let me know. So thanks.
Okay. Chris?
First off, I wanted to find out if there's any place where we can get resketch notebooks. We never did talk about that.
Yes, you can get them online. My mic is. You can get them online at resketchbrand.com. They are sold in retail locations around the United States, but here in Phoenix, they're at Dialogue, Practical Art, STEM Swedco, ASU Art Museum. That's all I'm remembering at the time. But we did create a code CMPHX15. That'll give you 15% off if you're a Creative Morning attendee this morning. So CMPHX15.
I will put that in the wrap-up newsletter.
I'm in it right now, so.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm here for my 30 seconds. My name is Chris Kolash. My business is Fine Art and Creative Environments. I also do a lot of other work in the community, and we'll be excited to be hopefully hosting this event in March at First Studio Gallery in downtown Phoenix. First Studio just received historic status famous for Wallace and Ladmo and the first news station. But I've decided, since I could promote myself, I'm starting to do much more large-scale steel sculptures. And a lot of my sculptures have opportunities for interactive places for families, businesses to get involved in ceramic tile that are then into large or larger steel sculptures that can be indoor, outdoor, and I would like to do more of this in my life. So I'm just putting it out there to Creative Environments.
Okay. Yeah, Creative Mornings. Appreciate it. So if you have a really empty office lobby that needs a steel sculpture, now you got a gal for that, right?
Hi, everyone. My name's Kat Crana. I'm an artist. I live in North Phoenix. And I decided a few months ago to do an art project that encourages community. So I've created this, my proof of concept, a little tiny art gallery designed for community boards, because everyone deserves art, even if you don't have a huge budget. And I'm actually looking for community boards, good community boards that are heavily visited. So if you have any hot tips for me on where to put these guys up, I would really appreciate that. So like a bulletin board at a business, they're often at coffee shops, bookshops, places like that where they are a resource for the community.
Yeah, like a physical pinup.
Yes,
board. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Cool.
yes. And so my hope is that that helps encourage people to actually use community boards, but it also distributes art to people who just want a little cheerful thing in their life. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, just a few more minutes and we'll wrap it up here. So coming up around town, we don't have too much. I think a lot of organizations, kind of had their big shebang around now in December, but we have this one already listed. Morgan mentioned it, an AIGA joint, The Art of Streetwear, featuring Ginger Hamilton. And this is going to be in December 15th. It's a Thursday, January 15th at Dialogue. And we've been there before for Creative Mornings and lots of other events. Sure, we're all familiar with Dialogue, right? Okay. This link, the registration will be in the wrap-up message. Okay, and then our next meeting is going to be Friday, January 23rd at Cahoots Phoenix, and we're going to have Pardis Mahdavi on the topic kursu, which is a Farsi word that means a bright glimmer of hope. A faint glimmer of hope. That changes the meaning. Yes.
So we've mentioned today many times that Creative Mornings is a global organization. And one of the things that they are doing moving forward, beginning in 2026, is introducing non-English words into the theme. So this is a Farsi word, kursu. This is from Iran and has a very interesting story. She's worked with women who have been trafficked and, excuse me, she's a journalist and academic, a writer. I spoke with her earlier this week. I'm really excited to introduce her to our community. And I think it'll be really inspiring because she comes from the Iranian culture. This word was brought to us by the chapter in Tehran. And if you know anything that's going on in Iran right now, it's going to be really interesting to hear her perspective on how creativity can bring a faint glimmer of hope. Yes. So just wanted to mention the unique twist on the theme words moving into 2026.
Yeah, all right, appreciate that. Yeah, there is, not to spoil the whole year, there's a few from Spain or Spanish-speaking countries, and there's one that's an Arabic word as well. So, and a lot of it is, translatable. So that's the next Creative Mornings, and the best way to learn about this is to stay on our email list. And I remind people about this every time, but it's important. Just because you register for this event, we do not automatically subscribe you to the chapter list. You have to choose the Phoenix chapter list. And we appreciate if you do. We only send 1 or 2 emails, and then if you come to the event, we give you a reminder for this particular event, just for the guest list. So it's not overwhelming, but if you go to the Creative Mornings website, you can choose any city, probably even more than 3. And then you can keep track of the next event when it launches. And we'll probably release the launch, maybe not Monday, maybe a few days after that, but we're gonna try to get it to you in December for this January 23rd event, okay? And your homework next time is to bring a friend and tell a friend, and of course, make a friend. And with that, let's assemble down here, take a quick photo, and then don't forget, there's a lot of food left over as well. Oh yeah, there you go. Just leave a little gap for the logo here. I guess you could squat. And then the logo, we can be. Come on.
20 minutes isn't enough time to elaborate on everything, so I got to be able to rush through everything.
Sadly. I think you're right. You're right in the middle of the logo. Push off to the side here. Got big words there. Press, compress.
I feel funny one. 1, 2, 3. Come on, guys. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. See you soon.
Hey, buddy.
Crushed it.
As
always. So you're from Minnesota? Where?
Well, I was born in Thief River Falls, Minnesota.
Underground.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, wasteland. You saw the picture of the snow? Yeah, that was outside the window.
That's one of your notes there? Is that one of your notes there?
That's one of the, yeah, I've used that one for other things, but it's a little beat up.
So I'm glad
It was like,
sorry, I was just curious. Yeah, great job. Thank you. 25 years ago. Okay.
So I was born in Thief River, but I was raised in Thief Falls.
Okay. Yep.
And the last 2 weeks that I lived in Minnesota, I was up in Thief River. It was below. And that's the summer. That's it.
That's the grandfather's living.
Oh, yeah, the big spot.
Yep.
Yeah. I still remember the solar side.
Recap. I got it. I was at that prom. That was my prom.
That's amazing. Okay. Hello. Hello.
I had a so I
There's a lot of technical issues with this sketch.
I just my own notebook was saying talking about
Okay.
and I was just wondering like
Well, I would say as you use industrial processes, you know, as you probably you make your notebooks out of some kind of paper or anything. Yeah, every notebook is a little bit. That's so the thicker the notebook, we have to use spiral plastic, so it has that room to expand. We do have a handful of notebooks that are saddles. Be careful as to what kind of paper we're using. Because like I said, we literally get all the watercolor. We'll get construction paper, you know, thicker paper. So we do products that we'll sometimes take like really thick paper. We'll turn those into something else. Like we'll turn those into like PDX. I didn't bring any of that stuff. So we have to kind of manipulate the paper around. It's not that we won't put it in the notebooks, but we have to just do it sparingly. Category of paper, you have to give the paper in a very specific way. You have to, somebody gets a snapshot. People pulling the paper in, and all the paper is different. Every once in a while, that's just unfortunately part of the process that we have to do. So there's just a lot, and that is after months of working with them to be like, yeah,
Well, we don't have to work closely anymore because now we've been doing it for 30 years. We weren't, actually, the notebooks in fact, in St. Louis. And the reason it was in St. Louis is because there was a binder that was very, very pro-research. And they didn't even charge us. They just loved what we were doing for the environment. That's not the case here. So, very, very hands-on. Well, first of all, they said, no, we're not going to do it. It's too much risk. Because if you screw up anything, we can't go and buy more paper. Right? Like this paper, we spend a lot of money to get the paper to feed it, store it, cut down, all that stuff. So a lot of places didn't want to take the risk of like, well, if we screw up, there's no all the risk is so we literally had to have a consultant come in. And I said, okay, show me your code. Show me how many slots it has. You know, we'll figure out a way of giving you the paper in a way where we can randomize. They put them like if I took a picture of this magazine, picture of this, they're going to assume the notebook is this or this. If no one does what we do, no one kind of imagines, oh, every page is probably different. Yeah. So they just had, when we showed them the notebook, they're like, look, binaries are designed to keep things in order. So they wanted, so what they said, Joe, is that all your notebooks were strategy. 30 page paper. Like, no. We made these before. Doable. You just got to work with me. So it took, again, it's those constraints and the creativity of like, we just got to find a more creative way of using these machines. These machines are built to do this. We need to do that. How do we make that?
Well, congrats. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, happy to see it. I can't wait to figure out the braille works too.
We can't do that because we haven't figured it out.
Have you considered doing, like, since I'm hands-on, have you ever used work for your hand totally and sending out to kids?
That's not a terrible idea. We have tried to, we've even sold reams of paper. Just like you can buy 500 sheets of random paper. But why not just go to the store and buy normal paper? So we've tried different things and saw the temperatures out there, different things. But it can't. We might say those are index cards.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay. Oh, yeah.